Stop for a moment and ask yourself this. What if I told you that some of the happiest, most fulfilled people I know are living completely alone? What if the secret to genuine contentment in your 70s and 80s isn't about having a house full of visitors or a packed social calendar, but about something entirely different, something you already possess but might not recognize? Right now, millions of older adults wake up each morning to empty houses, quiet kitchens, and long stretches of uninterrupted time. Society tells us this should feel lonely, sad, even tragic. But what if that narrative is completely wrong? What if solitude in your golden years isn't something to endure, but something to embrace, even celebrate? If you're watching this video, chances are you're navigating life on your own, or perhaps you know someone who is. Maybe you've been questioning whether happiness is still possible when the phone doesn't ring as often, when dinner tables feel too big, or when conversations happen mostly in your own mind. Here's what I want you to know. You're about to discover something revolutionary. Before we dive into these life-changing insights, do me a favor. If this resonates with you already, hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell. This community is growing with people just like you who are redefining what it means to live well alone. And if you find value in today's content, a simple like helps us reach others who need to hear this message. Your engagement truly makes a difference. Today, we're exploring 5 transformative principles that will shift how you think about solitude forever. These aren't just coping strategies or ways to get through lonely moments. These are profound approaches to living that can turn your alone time into your most treasured, peaceful, and genuinely joyful hours. Each principle will discuss draws from decades of research in psychology, real-life stories from thriving older adults, and timeless wisdom about what truly creates lasting happiness. Whether you've recently found yourself alone or have been navigating solitude for years, there's something here that could change everything about how you experience this chapter of your life. And here's a promise. By the end of this video, you'll not only have practical tools for feeling better, you'll have a completely new perspective on what it means to be alone. You might even find yourself looking forward to those quiet moments in ways you never expected. Let's begin with the first principle. Principle 1. Crafting your personal daily symphony. Picture this. You wake up tomorrow morning, and instead of facing an empty day, stretching endlessly ahead, you feel a gentle pull towards something meaningful. Your feet know exactly where to go first. Your mind feels clear about what comes next. This isn't about rigid scheduling or productivity pressure. This is about creating what I call your personal daily symphony. When you're navigating life solo, especially in your later years, one of the most profound gifts you can give yourself is the architecture of routine. Not the kind of routine that boxes you in, but the kind that sets you free. Think of it as creating gentle guideposts throughout your day that say, you matter. This time matters. This life matters. The magic begins the moment you open your eyes. Many people underestimate the power of those first few minutes of consciousness. When you live alone, nobody is rushing you. Nobody is setting demands on your time. Nobody is creating urgency around breakfast or getting dressed. This could feel overwhelming, all that choice, all that freedom, but it can also become your greatest strength. Consider starting each day with what I call morning anchoring. This might be as simple as lying in bed for 2 extra minutes, taking 3 deep breaths, and setting a gentle intention for the day. Maybe it's walking to your favorite window and greeting the day with gratitude. Perhaps it's that first sip of coffee or tea, taken slowly, with full attention to the warmth, the flavor, the comfort it brings. The beauty of routine, when you're alone, is that it becomes entirely yours. No compromises, no negotiations. Just you, deciding how you want to honor your time and energy. This isn't selfish, it's essential. When external structure falls away, internal structure becomes your lifeline. Let me tell you about Margaret, who at 78 has created what she calls her daily dance. Every morning, she waters her plants while listening to classical music. She doesn't rush through it, she talks to each plant, notices new growth, removes dead leaves with care. This simple act gives her day direction and purpose. After lunch, She always does one small creative thing. Sometimes it's writing in her journal. Sometimes it's arranging flowers. Sometimes it's just organizing her bookshelf in a new way. Before bed, she reads exactly one poem aloud to herself. Margaret's routine isn't complicated, but it's deeply intentional. She's created rhythm in her days that makes her feel accompanied by her own purposeful presence. She wakes up knowing what to expect, not because her day is rigid, but because she's built gentle traditions that honor her life and her choices. The psychological benefits of this kind of routine are profound. When you create your own structure, you're exercising agency. You're actively choosing how to spend your precious time. This combats the feeling of drifting or purposelessness that can sometimes creep in when you're alone. You're not just filling time, you're curating it. Your routine should include what I call pleasure appointments, scheduled moments of joy that you keep with yourself as faithfully as you would keep a doctor's appointment. Maybe it's a daily walk where you notice 3 beautiful things. Maybe it's a weekly visit to the library where you always check out one book that surprises you. Maybe it's a monthly letter you write to someone you care about, even if you never send it. The key is consistency without rigidity. Your routine should feel like a gentle current carrying you forward, not a rigid schedule imprisoning you. Some days you'll follow it exactly. Other days you'll improvise, and that's perfectly fine. The goal is to create enough structure that you never wake up wondering, what's the point of today? Remember, when you were younger, other people and obligations created structure for you. Now, you get to create it for yourself. This is an incredible freedom, and when embraced thoughtfully, it becomes a source of deep satisfaction and peace. Principle 2. Becoming your own emotional sanctuary. One of the most profound skills you can develop as you age, especially when you're spending significant time alone. The ability to be your own emotional support system. This isn't about becoming isolated or independent to a fault. It's about developing what I call emotional self-sufficiency, the capacity to comfort, encourage, and nurture yourself with the same tenderness you would offer a dear friend. Many of us grew up in an era where emotional self-reliance wasn't really taught. We learned to be strong, to push through, to not burden others with our feelings. But there's a difference between suppressing emotions and learning to skillfully navigate them on your own. What I'm talking about is emotional intelligence turned inward, the ability to recognize what you're feeling, understand why you're feeling it, and respond to yourself with compassion and wisdom. This skill becomes especially crucial during those moments that every person living alone knows well. The sudden wave of sadness that hits during a beautiful sunset because there's nobody to share it with. The frustration when something breaks and you have to figure it out yourself. The loneliness that can descend without warning on ordinary Tuesday afternoons. These feelings aren't failures or signs of weakness. They're completely human responses to the reality of living solo. The question isn't how to avoid these feelings, but how to meet them with kindness and skill when they arise. Start with the voice in your head. That constant internal narrator that comments on everything you do. For many people, this voice has become harsh over the years, critical and impatient. But you can change this voice. You can train it to speak to you the way you would speak to someone you love dearly. When you make a mistake, instead of thinking, "How stupid of me," try, "Everyone makes mistakes. I'm learning." When you feel sad, instead of telling yourself to snap out of it, try, "This feeling is temporary, and it's okay to feel this way." When you accomplish something, even something small, acknowledge it. "I handled that well," or "I'm proud of myself for trying." Consider the story of James, an 83-year-old widower who developed what he calls his evening friendship with himself. Every night before bed, he sits in his favorite chair and has a conversation with himself about the day. He asks himself, "How are you feeling? What was hard today? What went well?" He answers honestly, then offers himself comfort or encouragement as needed. Sometimes he even gives himself advice for tomorrow. James says this practice has kept him from feeling completely alone, even in his empty house. Another powerful aspect of emotional self-reliance is learning to sit with difficult emotions, without immediately trying to fix them or make them go away. When sadness comes, you can acknowledge it. I see you, sadness. I understand why you're here. When anxiety arises, you can breathe with it. I feel this worry, and I'm going to breathe slowly until it passes. This isn't about becoming emotionless or disconnected from your feelings. It's about developing the confidence that you can handle whatever emotions arise without being overwhelmed by them. You become your own emotional first responder, your own source of comfort and stability. Practical techniques for building emotional self-reliance include journaling, but not just any kind of journaling. Try writing letters to yourself, letters of encouragement when you're struggling, letters of celebration when things go well, letters of forgiveness when you're being hard on yourself. Keep a comfort box filled with things that soothe you. Favorite tea, soft fabric, comforting quotes, photos that make you smile. Learn to give yourself physical comfort too. When you're feeling low, wrap yourself in a soft blanket. When you're anxious, place your hand on your heart and feel it beating. When you're celebrating something, treat yourself to something special, a favorite meal, a small gift, a beautiful flower for your table. The goal isn't to never need other people or to never feel lonely. The goal is to develop such a strong, loving relationship with yourself that you can navigate difficult emotions with grace and skill. When you achieve this, you'll find that your happiness becomes less dependent on external circumstances and more rooted in your own inner stability and self-compassion. Principle 3. The art of sensory appreciation. Living alone offers you a unique opportunity that many people never fully realize. The chance to develop an intimate, appreciative relationship with your physical environment and sensory experiences when you're not constantly responding to other people's needs, preferences, and schedules. You can slow down enough to truly notice and savor the rich sensory world that surrounds you every day. This isn't about learning to be satisfied with less or convincing yourself that small things should be enough. This is about recognizing that some of life's most profound pleasures are available to you right now, in your own space, through your own senses. It's about developing what I call sensory mindfulness, the ability to receive joy through sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell in ways that can transform ordinary moments into sources of genuine happiness. Your sense of touch, for instance, offers countless opportunities for comfort and pleasure throughout each day. The warmth of sunlight streaming through your window and falling across your hands, the softness of flannel sheets against your skin, the smooth coolness of a favorite mug in your palms, the gentle pressure of a warm bath surrounding your body. These aren't just physical sensations, they're pathways to contentment and peace. When you live alone, you have the luxury of creating your environment exactly as you like it. You can keep your home at the temperature that feels perfect to you. You can choose fabrics, textures, and surfaces that bring you comfort. You can arrange your furniture so that you always have a view of something beautiful. Whether it's a window overlooking trees or a wall displaying photos that make you smile. Let me share the story of Eleanor, who at 81 has turned her small apartment into what she calls her sensory sanctuary. Every morning, she opens her windows to let in fresh air and listens carefully to the sounds outside: birds, distant traffic, neighbors starting their day. She keeps different textures within reach: a soft throw blanket, a smooth stone she found on a beach years ago, a small pillow with corduroy fabric that she enjoys running her fingers across while she reads. Eleanor has also created what she calls taste rituals. Throughout her week, Monday mornings, she makes herself pancakes with real maple syrup and eats them slowly, savoring each bite. Wednesday afternoons, she enjoys a piece of high-quality chocolate with her tea, letting it melt on her tongue. Friday evenings, she prepares a small feast for one, maybe just the perfect tomato with good olive oil and fresh basil. But she sets her table with cloth napkins and eats by candlelight. The power of scent is particularly profound for older adults because it's so directly connected to memory and emotion. Consider incorporating intentional fragrances into your daily routine. This might be as simple as using a lotion with a scent that makes you happy, brewing coffee or tea that fills your kitchen with pleasant aromas, or keeping fresh flowers on your table when possible. Some people find great joy in seasonal scent lighting, a pine-scented candle in winter, keeping fresh lemons in a bowl during summer, or using soap that smells like lavender in the evening. These aren't expensive luxuries. They're simple ways of creating pleasure and comfort in your daily environment. Visual beauty is equally important and completely within your control. You might rearrange your furniture to create a more pleasing view from your favorite chair. You could display collections of things you love, books, photos, small objects that have meaning to you. Even something as simple as changing the lighting in your living space can transform how you feel in your own home. Sound 2 offers endless opportunities for pleasure and comfort. You might discover that you enjoy having gentle background music throughout your day, or perhaps you prefer periods of complete silence. You might find comfort in the sound of rain against your windows, or the ticking of a clock, or the distant sound of children playing outside. The key is to pay attention to what your senses are telling you, and to honor what brings you pleasure. When you're alone, you don't have to compromise on these preferences. You can keep your home exactly as warm or cool as you like it. You can eat foods that appeal specifically to you. You can surround yourself with colors, textures, and sounds that bring you joy. This sensory approach to happiness isn't about distraction or superficial pleasures. It's about recognizing that your body and your environment are constantly offering you opportunities for comfort, beauty, and joy. When you develop the skill of noticing and appreciating these offerings, you create a rich foundation for contentment that doesn't depend on anyone else's presence or approval. Principle 4. Creating invisible connections. One of the most beautiful discoveries about living alone is that you don't have to be socially active or surrounded by friends to feel genuinely connected to the world around you. There are countless ways to create what I call invisible connections, meaningful links between yourself and your community, your environment, and the broader human experience that don't require deep personal relationships or regular social commitments. These connections are called invisible because they often go unnoticed by others, but they're deeply felt by you. They're the gentle threads that weave you into the fabric of life, reminding you that you're part of something larger than yourself, even when you're physically alone. One of the most powerful forms of invisible connection is what I call contribution without recognition. This involves finding small ways to add something positive to the world without needing acknowledgement or thanks. It might be as simple as keeping your front yard tidy so that neighbors walking by have something pleasant to look at. It could be leaving encouraging notes in library books, as I mentioned earlier, or paying for the coffee of the person behind you in line without staying to see their reaction. Consider the story of Arthur, a 76-year-old man who has developed a beautiful practice of invisible connection. Every week, he writes thoughtful reviews for local businesses, restaurants, bookstores, repair shops, focusing on the positive experiences he's had. He doesn't know the business owners personally, but he knows his words might encourage other customers to visit and might brighten the day of the owners when they read his reviews. Arthur also makes it a point to smile and make eye contact with people he passes on his daily walks. He doesn't stop for conversations, but he offers genuine warmth to strangers. He says these brief moments of human acknowledgement make him feel connected to his community in a way that's comfortable for him as an introvert. Another form of invisible connection is what I call parallel participation. This involves being present in shared spaces without the pressure of direct social interaction. You might become a regular at a local cafe, not because you want to chat with other customers, but because you enjoy being part of the gentle rhythm of human activity. You might visit the same park each week, not to meet people, but to feel part of the natural cycle of seasons, and to observe the ongoing life of your community. Technology offers unique opportunities for invisible connection, especially for older adults who might not feel comfortable with busy social media platforms. You might join online forums where people your age share experiences and advice. You don't have to become a frequent poster just reading others' stories, and occasionally offering a word of encouragement can create a sense of community and belonging. Some people find meaning in what I call heritage connection, ways of staying connected to their personal history and cultural background. This might involve researching your family history, preserving old photographs and documents, or maintaining traditions that were important to your parents or grandparents. These activities connect you to the larger story of your family and community. Even when you're physically alone, volunteering offers another pathway to invisible connection, and it doesn't have to involve large time commitments or social situations that feel overwhelming. You might volunteer to read audiobooks for people with visual impairments, working from your own home. You could participate in citizen science projects, like counting birds for wildlife organizations or monitoring weather patterns. You might knit blankets for animal shelters or assemble care packages for homeless shelters. The key with all forms of invisible connection is that they allow you to give and receive without the complications of ongoing relationships. You can contribute to the world's well-being, feel part of something meaningful, and maintain your independence in solitude. Spiritual practices, whether religious or secular, offer another profound form of invisible connection. Prayer, meditation, or simply taking time each day to feel grateful connects you to something larger than yourself. You might feel connected to nature through daily observations of birds, plants, or weather patterns. You might feel connected to humanity through reading books, watching documentaries, or following news about positive developments around the world. The beautiful thing about invisible connections is that they're available to everyone, regardless of personality type, physical limitations, or financial resources. They don't require you to be outgoing or socially skilled. They don't depend on other people's availability or interests. They're entirely within your control, and they can be as simple or as elaborate as feels right for you. When you cultivate invisible connections, you begin to experience what I call solitude without isolation. You're alone by choice, not by circumstance. You're connected to the world on your own terms, contributing to life's goodness without sacrificing your independence or quiet lifestyle. Principle 5. Nurturing your inner explorer. The final principle for finding happiness while living alone is perhaps the most transformative. Maintaining an attitude of curiosity and openness to new experiences, regardless of your age or circumstances. This isn't about taking up extreme hobbies or making dramatic life changes. It's about nurturing what I call your inner explorer, that part of you that remains fascinated by the world and eager to learn, discover, and grow. Many people mistakenly believe that the learning phase of life ends at a certain age, that once you reach your 70s or 80s, you should be content with what you already know and have experienced. This couldn't be further from the truth. Your brain remains capable of forming new neural pathways, acquiring new skills, and developing new perspectives throughout your entire life. In fact, engaging in new learning experiences is one of the most powerful ways to maintain cognitive health and emotional vitality as you age. When you live alone, you have a unique advantage in pursuing learning and exploration. Complete freedom to follow your interests without compromise. You can spend as much time as you want reading about topics that fascinate you. You can explore new hobbies without worrying about how they fit into someone else's schedule or interests. You can change direction whenever you want, diving deep into subjects that capture your imagination. This learning doesn't have to be formal or structured. It might be as simple as deciding to really understand the birds that visit your yard, leading you to research different species, their habits, and their migration patterns. It could be developing an interest in the history of your neighborhood, town, or family. It might be exploring a type of music you've never appreciated before, or trying to understand current events from multiple perspectives. Let me tell you about Robert, an 85-year-old who discovered watercolor painting after his wife passed away. He had never considered himself artistic, but during a particularly difficult period of grief, he wandered into an art supply store and impulsively bought a basic watercolor set. He started by trying to paint the view from his kitchen window, just simple trees and sky. 3 years later, Robert has filled dozens of sketchbooks with his paintings. He's learned about color theory, different painting techniques, and art history. More importantly, he's discovered that the process of painting gives him a sense of purpose and accomplishment that he thought he'd lost. He's not creating masterpieces, but he's creating meaning, beauty, and personal satisfaction. The act of learning new things serves multiple purposes when you're living alone. First, it gives your mind something to focus on besides loneliness or regret. When you're absorbed in understanding something new, you're not dwelling on what you've lost or what you lack. You're moving forward, growing, expanding your world from the inside out. Second, learning connects you to the larger world of human knowledge and experience. When you read about history, you're connecting with people who lived before you. When you study science, you're participating in humanity's ongoing quest to understand our universe. When you learn about art, music, or literature, you're joining a conversation that spans centuries and cultures. Third, learning gives you something to look forward to. When you have a project you're working on, whether it's researching your family tree, learning to identify local plants, or studying a historical period that interests you, you wake up with purpose. You have questions you want to answer, skills you want to develop, discoveries you want to make. The key is to choose learning activities that genuinely interest you, not what you think you should be interested in. If you've always been curious about astronomy, get a basic book about stars and planets. If you've wondered about cooking techniques from other cultures, try making dishes you've never prepared before. If you've been interested in meditation or spiritual practices, explore different traditions and find approaches that resonate with you. Technology can be a wonderful tool for learning. Even if you're not particularly tech, many libraries offer free access to online courses, documentaries, and educational resources. YouTube has countless tutorials on everything from gardening to guitar playing to understanding world history. Online courses designed for older adults are increasingly available and cover virtually every subject imaginable. Don't underestimate the learning that comes from creative expression. Writing your memoirs, even if no one else ever reads them, helps you understand patterns in your life and discover insights about your experiences. Creating photo albums, scrapbooks, or digital collections of your memories engages your mind in organizing and interpreting your life story. Physical activities also offer opportunities for learning and growth. You might explore gentle yoga, tai chi, or water aerobics. You could learn about nutrition and experiment with healthier cooking methods. You might discover that you enjoy gardening, whether it's tending indoor plants or creating a small outdoor garden space. The beautiful thing about learning in your later years is that you can approach it with a sense of joy and curiosity, rather than pressure or obligation. You're not learning to get a job or pass a test. You're learning for the pure pleasure of discovery, for the satisfaction of understanding something new, for the sense of growth and expansion that comes from engaging your mind in fresh ways. When you commit to being a lifelong learner, you transform solitude from empty time into rich opportunity. You become your own teacher, guide, and student. You create an internal world so interesting and engaging that you genuinely enjoy spending time with yourself. You maintain mental sharpness and emotional vitality that radiates outward, affecting how you feel about yourself and how you interact with the world. Embracing your solo journey. As we reach the end of our exploration together, take a moment to reflect on what we've discovered. We've journeyed through 5 powerful principles that can transform your experience of living alone from something you endure to something you embrace, even celebrate. We started with the importance of creating your personal daily symphony, establishing routines and rhythms that honor your time and give structure to your days. We explored emotional self-reliance, learning to become your own source of comfort and encouragement. We discovered the art of sensory appreciation, finding joy and beauty in the physical world around you. We examined invisible connections, ways to feel part of something larger without sacrificing your independence. Finally, we celebrated the importance of nurturing your inner explorer, maintaining curiosity and openness to new learning throughout your life. Each of these principles offers practical strategies for building a fulfilling life on your own terms. But more than that, they represent a fundamental shift in how we think about solitude in our later years. Instead of seeing alone time as something to fill or fix, we begin to see it as valuable space for growth, reflection, and authentic self-expression. The truth is, living alone in your 70s, 80s, and beyond isn't a consolation prize or an unfortunate circumstance to be endured. It can be a profound opportunity for self-discovery, personal growth, and deep contentment. When you embrace these principles, you're not just surviving solitude, you're thriving in it. Remember, happiness in your golden years doesn't require a bustling social calendar or a house full of family members. It doesn't depend on constant activity or endless entertainment. True happiness comes from developing a rich, appreciative relationship with yourself and your world. It comes from finding meaning in small moments, joy in simple pleasures, and purpose in personal growth. That your solo journey is uniquely yours. The routines you create, the connections you make, the learning you pursue, all of it can be tailored to your preferences, interests, and needs. You're not trying to live up to anyone else's expectations or follow anyone else's blueprint for happiness. You're creating your own path, one that honors who you are and what brings you genuine fulfillment. If you're just beginning this journey of living alone, be patient with yourself. These principles aren't overnight transformations. They're gradual developments that deepen over time. Start with one or two approaches that resonate most strongly with you. Practice them consistently and notice how they begin to shift your experience of solitude. If you've been living alone for some time and have been struggling with loneliness or purposelessness, know that it's never too late to change your perspective and try new approaches. Your past experience of solitude doesn't determine your future experience. You have the power to create change, to find new sources of meaning and joy, regardless of how long you've been on your own. The community of people watching this video represents something beautiful. Individuals who refuse to accept that aging means declining, that being alone means being lonely, that this chapter of life is somehow less valuable than earlier chapters. You're part of a growing movement of people who are redefining what it means to age gracefully and live fully, regardless of relationship status or social circumstances. We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Share which of these 5 principles resonated most strongly with you. Tell us about one small change you're inspired to make in your daily life. Your experiences and insights help build this supportive community and inspire others who are on similar journeys. If this video has brought you value, please consider liking it to help us reach others who might benefit from these insights. Sharing the video with friends or family members who might find it helpful extends the reach of this message of hope and empowerment. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you'll be notified when we publish new content. We're committed to creating resources that support older adults in living their best lives, and your subscription helps us continue this important work. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of happiness and solitude. Remember, you're not alone in your journey, even when you're alone in your home. You're part of a community of people who understand that living well solo is not just possible, it's a profound and beautiful way to experience this precious time of life. Your best days may very well be ahead of you, and they may be quieter, more peaceful, and more authentically yours than any days you've experienced before. Embrace them. You've earned them. Until next time, be kind to yourself, stay curious, and remember that happiness is always within your reach, regardless of who is or isn't sharing the journey with you. Don't forget to comment below with your thoughts, like this video if it helped you, and subscribe for more content that celebrates the beauty and possibility of every stage of life. Your engagement helps us reach more people who need to hear this message of hope and empowerment.